Because we don't know what we'll come up with.
But anyway, I had to run into the bathroom to go to the bathroom, and you'd always been fine with that. And I come out, and you weren't there, and I'm like, I'm running all over the neighborhood, and here comes down, oh, what was her name? Smith.
Lisa?
No, the mom.
Marjorie?
No.
No.
But anyway, here she comes down, walking you down naked. You had taken your diaper off. She was walking you down, and there was no sidewalk, so it was in the street, there on Kerfoot. And it was like, because you were always taking your clothes off.
Yeah.
That I remember.
Yeah. So,
I sleep all natural.
yeah. On that, so that was funny, yeah, on that. But yeah, it was just. Oh, and the lady next door, Miriam, the one that lived right next door to us, she would always take you and take her home all the time, because all she had was the two teenage
boys. Yeah, she's the one who taught me how to make a bed and do the corners.
Oh.
With flipping it under and tucked in. Yeah, she taught me how to do that.
Yeah, she was really good. She was a good neighbor on that. So, but yeah, it was.
Well, you amaze me what you remembered for being so young. Because some of the
I
stuff
remember all kinds of stuff. My very first memory is sitting in a high chair, somebody's feeding me something yellow, and I'm spitting it out, and they're getting mad, and all I can see is like because everything's, when you're that age, you don't really understand colors and shapes, and so I can see shoulders and some kind of top, so it's probably a sleeveless top, and then white, like the refrigerator and stuff in the background. So that's my very first memory.
Wow.
Really?
Because I don't know what it was. It was yellow, but I was like, I don't want to eat this.
My earliest first memory is in France, because we went over there when
Flip that
we
around?
were. My first earliest memory is when we were in France, and I guess we were 3 years old when we went to the daycare.
The daycare.
So I would have been around 3.
Probably, yeah.
A boy getting a worm, digging a worm up and chasing me with this worm.
Oh, really?
That was my daycare experience over in France, and that's the only thing I remember. Now,
Do you remember you and Joey going to the French school?
That's the only part I remember.
But you didn't go at that age. You were 4.
I don't remember past that. The next thing that I really remember is being on the ship and having my birthday on the ship.
Wow. Okay.
I have a bad memory. I'm right on this moment, and it's here, it's now, and that's it. That's usually how I do it.
I lost a lot of my memory. Yeah. But yeah, you and Joey were in school, the actual French school, when you were. He was 4 and you were 5. Because we come back, you were 5 and 6.
I remember you telling us how fluent we were in speaking.
In speaking it, yeah.
And I used to remember thinking, man, you were so mean for not letting us keep up French, because we could have been fluent today.
Yeah, you could have, but I didn't speak it, so it was like it would have been had been you two.
We were conspiring.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it.
Yeah, didn't know what you were saying, and that you two would just giggle at each other because we were like, what did you say? And it was like. And then you'd laugh at each other, because you knew we couldn't. And then, that's right. And when we were in France, you made mud pies, and you put them in my oven.
Oh!
I turned the oven on to preheat it, and I got smelling this. What on earth was it? And you had made mud pies, little dirt and mud from out in the back, because when we lived on base there, we never lived on base, but in Grande, we lived in what was the town we lived in?
Orleans.
No, that was the base part, but Châtellerault. When we lived in Châtellerault. uh, the apartment, we moved out of the big apartments because uh, troops were being moved to Germany. So we had to get a temporary house in Charleroi until we moved to Poitiers. And so in the backyard, it was a house, but there was people up above us that rented a bedroom and a bathroom. We'd have to use that bathroom. There's only one bathroom in the house. We rented it was a living room, bedroom, sort of combination that you and Joey were in. It always bothered me because the neighbor could go in and out your door to you in the kitchen, and we had this little room upstairs that was for us because we couldn't all fit in that little. I mean, it's about as
like
big as this place.
Like efficiency type
thing,
place.
and we had your beds and that in there until we moved. And I could let you play out in the yard because it was totally enclosed, and so that's what you did. So apparently I had gone upstairs to the bathroom, and you put mud pies in the oven.
So you were in France from 1961 to 65, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we came back. They moved us to Poitiers, and because we were getting ready to come back, so we didn't go to Germany. It wasn't worth the move, but his whole company went to Germany, and we stayed there. We were there probably. You didn't go to school there because everybody else moved off, and they were moving French people into the military quarters. There was us and one other family that was with us that we were heading home, but we didn't know when we were going, because but they were moving the French. Our neighbors became French people, and they hated us because de Gaulle was kicking us out.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he was kicking us out. And we were they stole our dog. Anything else that we'd leave in the yard, they would take. They felt this was now theirs, and they didn't like Americans anymore. So we couldn't let you guys play outside or anything because we didn't know what would happen. And so we were at the club, that family and us. We're at the club one night, and they come in looking for us and said, "We're moving you tomorrow." So we had to go home, start straightening up for them packers to come in tomorrow. Within 3 days, we were on a train, and we had a whole compartment to ourselves because we had Smokey, and we took another family's dog with us, so they had a compartment to them. We had one, the dogs had one. And that until we got to the boat. But yeah, our landlord.
So that was kind of scary then.
It was scary.
Where were you at when you guys could hear the bombs? Weren't you somewhere?
Oh, that was when we were in Charleroi, because that's when the Algerians were trying to fight for their independence from France or whatever. We were restricted. I mean, he had to change out of his uniform into civilian clothes to come home. We were restricted as to where we could go, and there was the apartment complex we lived in. It was the landlord were communist, and at night, the gates were always closed. I mean, you'd go in through your apartment, but you couldn't walk into the courtyard where the cars, and so we didn't park our cars there. But those gates were closed, and then it was so loud, but when we'd hear the bombing, the gates would open and they would leave. So they were in with whoever was trying to get us out of there, to get rid of us. And he was told, you stay confined to your quarters. Yeah, it was a little scary. We had Sue and Doug where they had no kids, and she was the cutest little thing, and he was too. They were both short, but she was blonde and she wore this big beehive, you know. And we her and I went shopping a lot, or just went out. She liked you kids, and so you know it was like the four of us. We'd go down to the park and down to the cul-de-sac and the one area where you could play and that. And we were coming home one time, and this big Turk started following us, and that and talking to us. I mean, he had the turban, he had, I mean, that and the big sword and all of that. I mean, he was an Algerian, is what he was. And so we walked in the he he must have followed us for about 3 or 4 blocks, and so we went into this one store just to because we thought he can't be following us. Why would he be following us? And went in the store, and we had shopped there every now and then, and he came in and stood by the door, and the owner said something to him, and he said something back, and so we asked him. We says, "What's going on? What is it?" And he says he wants to buy her. That he will give so many cows and stuff for her.
Wow.
And that was scary.
Yeah.
That was really scary, because it's like, okay, we got to get home now.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was, and we didn't want him to know where we lived or where she lived.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because people, I mean, we had French people that would, if my door was unlocked, they'd open my door, come in, use my bathroom, and go back out, because that's what they did in apartments. If you were on the street,
Wow.
you'd go into any apartment and use the bathroom.
Wow.
That's
Public bathroom, right?
Well, no, since we rented that apartment, we had both sides. We had the bedrooms on this side, a kitchen, and a living room. In regular French, it would be the bedrooms, they share the kitchen, they share the bathroom, they share the living room. And but their bedroom doors were theirs. They never would go in each other bedrooms doors, but they would use the bathroom.
Right.
And anybody would use the bathroom. So we did. That happened once, and I'm like,
wow.
And then he left, because I'm thinking, he came in, used my bathroom, what's going on?
Oh man.
And then he left, and I locked the door real fast. And then I went across the hallway. Was another American family. There was like 5 of us in that whole complex. There was us on the 3rd floor, Jim and Barb on the 2nd floor, and there was a single, I can't think of their name, but Mary Lee and Larry were there, and Lynch's were over on the other side. And that's where Barb was. She could hear everything that went on upstairs, and we were good friends. Jim and him come over on the boat together, and they were in the same company and that. So, but that's when I was having such horrible migraines. And the French windows, there's no screens. They're just, the 6-foot tall windows, and they're about this high. And Barb was really good. I mean, she was really good, because when she started hearing a pounding, because I'd pound my head on the wall, trying to get rid of the headache, or put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And she'd come up and get you kids and let me lay down in the dark room for a while. Well, she came up one day, and I was coming down the hallway, and just from the look she knew, she says, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And looked in the living room, and there you were, lifting Joey up onto the windowsill so he could look up to the 2 ladies up on top of the floor above us, so he could flirt with them. And he was 3, you were 4, somewhere is around that age.
So it'd be like Jackson right now, that and doing Maddox.
Yeah, I mean, and we were 3 floors up,
Wow.
and it didn't, it scared me, but it didn't scare me because I was in a fog, but Barb was there. I mean, we both went, and I grabbed a hold of you, and she grabbed a hold of Joey, and I don't think I even spanked you or anything and told you no. It was just from then on we tried to. You had to have your windows open for the air, and that. But Dad had got some kind of a rig up a gate to put across there, so you wouldn't do it, and that.
So what was the reason for coming back on the ship? You just wanted
That's how
to,
they
or you
do.
had to do
That's
it?
how they took.
But we went on the plane there.
Yeah, but they were shipping. It was the ship was because everybody from all over in Germany that was being shipped back to the States, we all went back on that ship. It was all Americans and families.
So this was part of trying to get the Americans out. So
yeah,
they were trying to do like
yeah.
a mass
Mm-hmm.
clearing or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Evacuation.
That's what it was. It was an evacuation.
See, I remember being on the ship, and I remember being in the bed, being able to pull the curtain, because we slept on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We were on it for almost 2 weeks.
Well, I don't remember how long it was, but I just remember being up there, and it was a little tiny thing, and being able to pull the curtain across, and, so you have the privacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I barely remember the birthday party, and I remember standing. I know some of them are pictures, so sometimes I'm not sure if I'm remembering a picture or a memory.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember being in the center and feeling like everybody's looking at me. That and it wasn't. It kind of was a good feeling, but it wasn't. It was just awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
So where did you dock?
New York City.
New York City.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's where. When we come in, we sing the Statue of Liberty and all of that, and we stopped for a while until apparently we could get into a harbor, because we were overnight on the ship when it stayed still, and then we come into the dock, and then they took us to the train station, and that's when I had Smokey. And you and Joey and
Smokey was the Great Dane, right?
The German Shepherd.
German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I had him muzzled because we were in the train station, and we were sitting there, and he went off to get us tickets to get us back to Buffalo, and so we were sitting there, and you were sitting on one side. I had Smokey here because I wanted to make sure he was backed in behind me, so that because he was watching everything, and he was a big dog, and this guy come up, and he sort of put his hand to pet Smokey, and he like that, and the guy put his hand on my leg, tapped my leg like that, and he was trying to sell me drugs and stuff, do I want, and that, and since I was there with the kids by myself, and so I told him, I said, you better leave or I'm taking the muzzle off of him, and that, because he couldn't bite him, but he,
Right.
and that, and you two were sitting on the seat just swinging your legs back and forth, no idea what was going on, and that, so, and he was in uniform, so he come up, and he didn't. I told him what was going on, but the guy.
Oh, you mean Dad was in uniform?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's seen him coming
on
towards me, but the guy got up and took off, and that. So, but yeah, it's been an experience at times.
So you made it to Buffalo. Is that when you had to live with Grandma and Grandpa, or did you have your own place?
No.
Or got stationed went down to El Paso?
He got out of the military at that time.
I never knew he got out.
Yeah, for 30 days. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. And we thought, we'd he'd get a job there at home, and all of that didn't work out. So he re-enlisted, and that's when we, where'd we go? Camp Drum.
North
No,
Carolina.
not Camp Drum. We came
Probably Bliss, because then I was
Fort
born
Bliss,
there.
yeah. So it had to been Fort Bliss that we went to. And that's
Yeah, because we came back, I was 6, so not too long after that.
So yeah.
Yeah, because you came back in '65. I was born in '66. So.
Right, yeah. Because I didn't think I was pregnant with you because they told me I couldn't have any more kids because when we were in Camp Drum, we had a car accident and I had tampons in me, and it shot way up in me and totally forgot it was there.
Mm.
And so when trying to think of when we went back home, Dad went to France. We stayed from February, I think it was February to July. We had an apartment at home, and I went to the family doctor, and it was rancid.
Mm.
Oh my!
And that by that time, and he treated me and everything. And he said, "You may never have any more children," and that. So, and the same way after that, when we were trying to think, I'm getting confused as to time wise. Yeah. So I mean, even when we came to Fort Bliss and that, and when I did get pregnant with you, I didn't think I was pregnant. I didn't. I went and I thought I had the crystals back in my breast, and then they did the test and nope, you're pregnant. and it was, so I didn't have anything done with my teeth the whole time I was pregnant with you. It was afterwards that I had that. So I was having real bad up here sinuses and down through here, and then that's when it burst, and my face was like that. You could take my skin and that and there, and they kept. You'd go to one doctor, and it was the military. I was going to them, and I finally said, well, my teeth are hurting so bad. And so they sent me to that dentist, the one that did the work, and he said, you got a sinus infection, that your sinuses here have burst. But the other doctors never thought to take an x-ray of my face.
Mm-hmm.
And that, so, and he did, and he was like, oh my God, it was bad. And that, so it was so sad because it was like, you can't eat anything, you got to drink everything. Because my teeth were so loose, and he wanted to get a molder of it, and it took him, I think, like 3 trips to get it, without my teeth coming out. And so when he got that, then I went in one day and he just went, and they all
Oh.
and that's
Well,
it.
did it hurt? Didn't hurt.
No,
Easy
what
way to lose
hurt,
teeth.
yeah, what hurt is because he had to slit my gums all the way, and then took the drain through my nose down through to get it from here, and then scrape all of that. That's why I still have my one side that my jaw locked at that time, and that was probably the most painful, was trying to get for him to get my jaw unlocked. And he told me, he says, you make sure when you go to a dentist, you tell him you can't open up your mouth all the way, and that'll lock on you. And that, but he was good. I mean, he was really good. And then all in between that time, he became a civilian. And he told me, you come back, I started it, I'm finishing it, and he did. And I didn't have to pay for it. I don't know, apparently the military paid for it. I don't know how he worked it out, but I never paid for it.
Nice.
And that, so.
Well, tell me about